I wanted to close, if I may, before dashing, with the issue that I deliberately didn't deal with in my introduction, preferring to leave you on this note. It's very clear that they are planning some kind of attack on Iran. It's very clear. The Israeli statements of just yesterday and over the last few months, the fact that the Israeli government's in very serious trouble and an attack on Iran would be a very handy diversion. The fact that the Bush administration, having left a legacy of total disaster in Iraq and its political credentials now in ruins and tatters, is entering its last few months, seems to me that the perfect storm is now emerging for an attack on Iran. Now, on the subject of American body bags, there will be no American physical land invasion of Iran. Iran is not Iraq, 22 million people plagued by wars and sanctions and riven with ethnic and other confessional divisions. Iran is a largely homogenic country, 60 million people. It's not broken, it's rich. It has a huge population of young people, and it has friends all over the world, not least in Lebanon and Palestine and elsewhere. So the United States will never invade Iran, because that would be a military catastrophe. But what they're clearly planning to do is launch an aerial bombardment, a blizzard of cruise missiles fired from the Gulf, fired from the land of the Gulf and the water, fired directly from the Israeli side, probably through the use of warplanes. An American-Israeli attack on Iran is a very, very real possibility. And I just want everybody to know, and perhaps our friends from the Labour Party will convey this to their government, that if the Iraq war was a very big mistake, an attack on Iran will be the biggest mistake in history. Because Iran will regard an aerial bombardment of its territory in exactly the same way as it would regard a land invasion of its country. Iran has the means and has the will to strike back against anybody who attacks it, and to strike back against the territory or the territory from the land from which, or the waterways or the airspace from which this attack has been launched. So just put this in your mind, and perhaps, Councillor, you could convey this to Gordon Brown, that you heard this here, that if Iran is attacked, she will immediately respond with overwhelming force. She will respond first and foremost with overwhelming force in Iraq, where we have made Iran very powerful indeed. In fact, I told you he was an imbecile. His biggest achievement in Iraq is to make Iran really powerful in Iraq. And Iran will use its power to surround the 4,000 British soldiers who are still in the south of Iraq, in Basra, at the international airport. It will be like the film Zulu, but without the happy ending. The British thin red line there will be in peril of massacre within an hour of any attack on Iran. She will respond throughout Iraq, she will respond throughout the Gulf. Within an hour of the attack beginning, the northern oil fields in Qatar will be on fire, as will the fields in eastern Saudi Arabia and in the south of the United Arab Emirates. The waterway of the Straits of Hormuz, the Arabian-Persian Gulf itself, will be blocked and on fire. You won't find oil at $150 a barrel. You won't find it at $1,500 a barrel. There will be an economic catastrophe in the wake of such an attack. And Iran will answer through her friends in Lebanon, in Palestine, and around the world. This will make the world a terrifyingly dangerous place, and for a very long time to come. So please, Mr. Brown, at the risk of sounding vociferous, please, Mr. Brown, don't drag us into another one of these. Don't inflict upon your own country and your own people the consequences of yet another disastrous attack on a Muslim country. But we're not stopping at saying please. The Stop the War Coalition is mobilizing against Bush a week on Sunday. and we'll make sure that the demand that there should be no war on Iran is the first slogan on the banners of that demonstration. I hope you get your coat, Andy. I hope you fill it. And I hope that all of these people here today, and those who've had, will stay together as a group. Because Swindon is not a huge city. This size of an audience that we had today can be a real political force in a town the size of Swindon. If you stuck together and worked together and acted in concert, you could have a real impact. Who knows? You might even be able to persuade the new Labour Party of the correctness of your views. I'm glad that we had a councillor from Labour here. He had the grace and the courage, the commitment to come here. The problem is those who did not. The problem is those who did not. The problem is those Tories, Labour and Liberal who still inhabit this bubble in the House of Commons that never hears or feels the pressure from outside. Well, it's up to us. There's nobody else. Politics doesn't happen, according to the seasons. Nobody has a right to continue to govern. Nobody has the right to continue to be elected. Every day is a new day and a new challenge, and everyone in politics must respond to it. So, there's a direct relationship between what we do and what they can do. They wouldn't be able to have done what they did if we had been stronger. They won't be able to do what they might now like to do if we make ourselves stronger. And the way to make ourselves stronger is to stay together as one hand. Thank you very much indeed.